Hey folks, how you doing? Listen, I think we have to check the calendar. What year is it? Is it 1964? Is it 1965? 1967? 1970? No, it's 2020. That's right. I have to check that because they've done it again, folks, the Beatles. They're number one again, folks. And I'm here to rub it in, to celebrate, to be a little snobby about it, because I got to tell you, I'm just really high on it. It seems like every other month or a couple of times a year or something, I have to make these videos, and I'm glad to do it, where the Beatles once again prove that they're number one, even in the 21st century. Now, if you look on my channel and you go back to some recent videos, you'll see videos where I talked about the Beatles coming in at number one for the most vinyl sales in the decade of the 2010s or whatever that was. There's always some kind of new record. You know, the Beatles hits compilation, the one compilation of number one hits, that was the biggest selling album of the entire decade of the 2000s. And then if that wasn't enough, the aforementioned 2010s, the Beatles had, I believe it was the most vinyl units sold in vinyl in 2010. 2010s, the decade. And I have some notes here. Now, the reason I decided to make this video, it's twofold. The first one is a report by iHeartRadio. And the heading is, quote, Beatles are the best-selling rock band of 2020. Beatles are the best-selling rock band of 2020. And the quote is, half a century after the release of their final studio album, the Beatles are again the top-selling rock act of the year. The Fab Four are the only million-selling rock band of 2020, and it's not particularly close. Nielsen's mid-year report calculates the Beatles album sales plus equivalent units sold between January and June of this year at 1.94 million units. That's more than Queen, who had 768,000, Imagine Dragons, Fleetwood Mac, and Metallica. That's incredible, folks. You know, yesterday I saw a report, it was a Forbes article, and Forbes had said that the Beatles and another group that I never heard of called BTS are the only groups to sell 1 million album units in 2020. Now, I did some research on BTS. I'd never heard of them until I read this Forbes thing. Apparently, it's a 7-member Korean group. They started out as a boy band in 2010. They've been around 10 years. And I think they also are known as, I can't pronounce it, the Bangtan Boys, Bangtan, Bangtan Boys, whatever they are. I've never heard of them. That's some trick, you know, to be around and to be a really big band and to be selling so many units along with the Beatles. Everybody's heard of the Beatles, right? To be around for 10 years and never heard of them? They're not a household name? How is that possible? Look, we know nobody's going to be talking about BTS or the Bangtan Boys, whatever they want to be called, 5 years from now, much less 50 or 60, okay? It's not so much that I want to put them down. I don't even know their music, but I just have to celebrate and say, wow, is that incredible? You know, because the Beatles still number one rock band. The reason the Forbes article included BTS is because they're also a group, not a rock group, though, apparently, although I hear they do a number of genres. I think I'll live without it. Look, folks, say what you want. You know, from time to time, I have to laugh at jokers who continually tell me, why don't you get with the times, man? Get with the 21st century. How long are you going to listen to the Beatles, man? The Beatles are outdated. The Beatles are over. Beatles are finished. Beatles are the dad's music, grandpa's music, whatever you want to say. Even though we have new generations all the time of young people that love the Beatles coming up and doing all kinds of things and starting channels and starting shows and podcasts and what have you. I love it. I revel in it. I celebrate it. No one has touched the Beatles. Nobody's going to touch the Beatles. And I'm simply out here in the car just to explode over it in a positive manner. Spare me the lectures about, you got to move on. Time moves on. It's 2020. The Beatles are still number one in sales. I don't want to hear anything. Okay? Anyway, that's what I had to say. And to celebrate, We're going to get ready for dinner tonight, my girlfriend and I, and we're going to also include a little bit of Goya rice. So everybody, have a great time. Beatles forever! Yeah, yeah, yeah!